may concern the 4 Plotters podcast episodes at Medical Meme Podcast at Apple Podcasts are back. They were gone, but they are back, which is a very exciting moment in time. Those episodes garnered over 1 million listens. And they were suddenly taken down a few months ago. Not by us, by any means. And now they're back. If you want to find out what happened, go to my Telegram. Link is in the profile. Link is in the description. Go to my Telegram account so you can find out what happened. Some of you guys might have noticed they were taken down and removed. And now they were back months later. And you can learn all about what happened, why, and how, to whom it may concern on any level. But they have, like I said, garnered over 1 million listens, and they are jam-packed with information. The Plotter shows, the 4 Plotter shows, they are back. That's right. There is some justice. All right. So we're talking about shingles. Oh, got another announcement to make. Medical Meme Podcast at Apple Podcasts. The episode. Now I got to watch out on TikTok because it's a brand new episode. Medical Meme Podcast at Apple Podcasts. You guys, a brand new episode launched today. Seriously, this episode though, you know what I'm talking about? That, right? I can't say it on here because I will probably lose TikTok. Just like I did. Remember, TikTok deleted my account a year and a half ago or so, whatever. And I had over almost close to 1 million people on TikTok in the whole bit. And boom, gone. And then we got the TikTok count back. We had to start out from scratch. And then when I talked about something the other day or whatever it was, weeks ago, they got rid of the live option. Now that's back. So it's incredible, but I got to watch what I say. So what I'm trying to tell you is check out the Medical Meme Podcast, brand new episode today. Today it's launched, and it's about okay, that's what it's about. You listened to it twice already. Crispy perspective, amazing. All right, you guys, but today, listen, today. Okay, this is some of the announcements. But today we're talking about shingles. Shingles. This is going to be good. We're going to cover some detailed information that's critical for people who are chronically, mysteriously suffering from chronic illness. If that made any sense. People are struggling out there, suffering with symptoms, and may not realize or don't realize or highly doubt they realize that the shingles can be behind why they are suffering, why they are struggling. The shingles. And I'm not talking about the shingles on a rooftop. I'm talking about the shingles on somebody's body or in their body without having a rash. And that's interesting because we're going to cover that topic too, because medical research and science without a study is just starting to talk about shingles viruses with no rashes present. Internal shingles. That's interesting because right here, published almost a decade ago, I was the first to talk about that shingles varieties without rashes because of spirit of compassion. Exactly. How would I ever know that? How would I ever find that out? It never existed anywhere. Published here first. Medical research and science almost a decade later are starting to talk about it. They don't have a study. Where'd they get the information? I wonder. Because millions of copies of the Medical Medium Book 1 have gone around the globe, and countless doctors are using them and so forth all around the globe, right? And scientists and everything. I wonder where they got that non-rashing shingles thing that they don't have a study for. Incredible. So this is good. So let's cover some of this information. I'm excited to see you guys. Glad to be here. What's in front of me right now? Pray tell. Pray tell. What's in front of me? I got some eggs over here. Probably on IG, you can't see that. TikTok, can you guys see some things too? I got some eggs over here. Watch out. I will drop these. Give them a spin. Whoa. Gotta be really careful there. Whoa. Got some eggs over here in this section. What's this? Sushi. How many people are getting sushi? So I'm gonna go out and get some sushi. Hi, I'm on my YouTube channel. And I've been doing all kinds of fashion and everything else. It's fashion week. at Coachella, and I just went and got some sushi, everybody. He said, look and check it out. It's right here, and I love sushi. I have it every day. Sushi! We're going to talk about why that might not be a great idea when you're dealing with shingles. Also, this plate won't come off. I have it taped on there. I got some eggs right here and some bacon, and I got some gluten toast. Toast that's gluten toast. How do you like that? Some gluten toast right there. And what is stick of butter? I got a stick of butter right there. Interesting. Okay. Got some pecorino romano. Got some, what else do we have? Some other types of cheeses. Provolone, right? Got some brie cheese right here. You guys, Deanna says, I just finished listening to the alcohol podcast. Did I just say something? Thanks, AW. Amazing. Senso Studio says, I love the alcohol podcast. Incredible. It's really good, isn't it? Did you hear that guy in the middle of the, did you hear the guy in the middle of the podcast? What was wrong with that guy? Did you hear that? All right. I got some brie. Over here, I got a cheeseburger. A cheeseburger. Double cheeseburger. And over here, which you can't see on IG, which is also difficult to lift up for the moment, but it's a pan with 2 eggs in it right there. There we go. Very interesting. All right. It's MM School, right? So we're talking about shingles. You see I got a bunch of different foods out there, and I also have some other props and so forth, like a bug prop right there, which is the shingles virus. Let's go into it a little bit. This is really interesting, okay? The chicken pox myth. Whoa. They're gonna talk about this later too. So not only did they take medical medium info on the non-rashing shingles, but I guarantee you, mark my words right now, I don't care if it's 100 years from now, I don't care if it's 50 years, 20 years from now, I'm telling you right now, they're gonna take this right here. This is next. Because they're busted. They're busted. Check this out. Ready? The chicken pox myth. Contrary to the current beliefs of medical research and science, one way that you can't get shingles is through chicken pox. Your doctor may tell you that if you've had chicken pox, sooner or later, you'll get shingles. You guys know this? Do you guys know this? Like, do you know this information? Conventional medical research and science, or alternative, it's all the same now. They're both together. They're in bed together, by the way. Sorry to say, but they're in bed together. Okay? Anyway, contrary to the current beliefs of medical research and science, one way that you can't get shingles is through chicken pox. Did you hear what I just said? Your doctor may tell you that if you've had chicken pox, sooner or later, you'll get shingles. They'll say, sooner or later, you'll get shingles. If you had chicken pox, you'll get shingles. Okay? Now, they're going to take this too. I know it's coming. I know. Because a birdie in my ear named SOC, birdie in my ear is telling me they're going to go with this one next. And it's coming. It's kind of exciting, by the way. Biggest mistake they made. They say shingles is contagious. We're going to go into that part yet. I can't wait. This is not the case. The only thing chickenpox has in common with shingles is that they're both viruses in the herpes family that can cause a rash. What that means, you guys, chickenpox isn't the shingles. They're not the same thing. They've been feeding that one. That's a huge mistake by the industry. They've been feeding that huge mistake to people for decades and decades. What a lame mistake. Mish Kemp says, I never had chickenpox and I have shingles. Indeed, you're right. And yeah, that's how it works. Because they're 2 different bugs. A major mistake in the medical world. 2 different bugs. And just like they made a mistake because they didn't know about the non-rashing shingles until they took it from the medical medium book. Just to that mistake alone, here's the second mistake they're going to have to they're going to have to chalk up. They're going to have to cough up. And that second mistake is coming. Chickenpox is an entirely different species of herpes virus from shingles. Entirely different. Chickenpox, shingles, or shingles, chickenpox. Shingles, chickenpox. Exactly. They essentially have nothing to do with each other. Nothing to do with each other. Yeah. So they're going to take that too coming up pretty soon. Eventually you're going to see something come up and it's going to be like, we've just discovered that chickenpox is not the shingles. They're two different viruses. But what it is they're going to be busted. I have delivered that information for decades, published it in here many years ago, and talked about it for years. Okay, why are we being told shingles is chickenpox related when it's not? Why are we being told that? This is a prime example of misinformation that was accepted at one point because it sounded like it made sense. It was a theory that sounded like it made sense, just like the autoimmune theory that sounded like it made sense, where your body's attacking itself, but your body isn't attacking itself because that's a theory that they never proved. They never witnessed an autoantibody under a microscope attacking a gland or a cell or an organ, you guys. They never witnessed the immune system attacking a gland or an organ. It was never witnessed. It still isn't today. Millions of people are walking into their doctor's offices getting autoimmune diagnoses and with not a shred of proof that their body is turned on them or their body has even gone after a gland or an organ or tissue. It is made up bullshit, made up BS by the industry, and everybody's just suckered into it, and that's the world we live in. And if you know how the world works and how corrupt the world is overall with different things, realize it's corrupt in everything, and that's part of it right there all on its own. You guys, somebody just asked what book it is. It's a Medical Medium New Edition. Medical Medium Book 1, New Edition. It's an incredible book. Talks about Epstein-Barr, talks about the shingles, talks about the conditions and symptoms it creates, MS, fibromyalgia, thyroid problems, hypothyroid. All of it is in here. This thing's packed. It's jam-packed with protocols and information that's mind-blowing. Okay. This is prime example of misinformation that was accepted at one point because it sounded like it made sense, then was perpetuated to the point where it's now ingrained. We have it ingrained in everybody's consciousness. It's like buried deep in their skull, in their brain, that shingles means chickenpox. They're the same thing. Once you had chickenpox, you're going to have shingles, which is nonsense. That's not how it works. Not to mention that medical research and science don't have a lot of accountability when it comes to viruses. No, they don't. We know that already just from 2020. They lack information and know very little in this area. The plague of C has shown this to be true. We know what I'm talking about, the plague of C. Okay? Still till this day, I'm not going to mention that word. It's the best I can. All right, let's go into it a little bit. Shingles transmission and triggers. As with any virus in the herpes family, there are numerous ways to catch shingles, to catch it, to transfer it. You can get it passed down from your parents. You can get it through a transfusion of infected blood. You can get it through an exchange of bodily fluids. You can get the shingles through an exchange of bodily fluids very easily. From a public bathroom, from a handle on a carriage in the grocery store, you can get shingles easily, just so you know. And even from the blood from a chef's finger, from the knife chopping up your food in the restaurants. The biggest mistake they made, they say shingles is contagious. If it's contagious, then you can straight up catch shingles. You don't need chicken pox. Huh? What? Wait a minute. What did I just say? That's the most screwed up thing I've ever heard come out of my mouth. I mean, geez. Looks like I'm getting something going on there on tick. So, yeah. So, I can just tell you right now, when you think about this. Think about how crazy this is, right? So, if shingles is contagious, right? And then you can catch shingles from someone else who has shingles. Where's the chickenpox part? Where does that go? What happened there with chickenpox? Someone please tell me. I'm confused. I'm scratching my head on that one. But think about this one. Is this not mind-blowing? Right? They say that you can only get shingles from chickenpox. So you have to have chickenpox first. And then it so-called goes dormant in the body, and then you get shingles later on in your 50s and 60s. When you're 50 years old, when you're 60 years old, that's when you end up getting chickenpox, right? That's what we're told. So this is kind of funny because I'm thinking about this for a minute. Because how does that work? So if someone has shingles, and then you go near them and they have shingles, you catch the shingles from them, but you don't catch chickenpox. How in the world does that work? Bust it. Bust it again. Once again, bust it. They didn't think that one through when they told everybody shingles is chickenpox all these decades. All these doctors were told in medical school that chickenpox is shingles. Never saw a shred of evidence or proof. I know, I've talked to doctors that have gone through medical school. No one's ever seen a petri dish or something under the glass, the looking glass of a scope that determines what the difference is there or anything about it. So here you are, you're told that shingles is chickenpox. You have to catch chickenpox first or have chickenpox, and then it goes dormant, and then your shingles comes out like 50 years later. How's it possible that you can catch then shingles directly from somebody who has shingles? You should then really technically catch chickenpox. Everybody should be getting chickenpox from somebody who has shingles. And it must start off that way before it becomes shingles 50 years from that. Huge mistake. Bust it once again. Let's go into this a little bit. Signs you could be suffering from the onset of a shingles infection include flu-like fever and chills, feeling headaches or migraines, aches and pains, burning pain, itching, tingling, and rash, pustules or blisters. If it's an actual rashing shingle, if it's a non-rashing shingle, you're not going to see it on your body. You're not going to see the rash. Medical communities believe that those last two symptoms, red rash and pustules, always accompany shingles. In fact, this is merely the classic presentation of one type only of the zoster virus. So this leads us into the next thing here, okay? If medical research and science are now saying, because they took from Medical Medium Book 1 here, they took the information that there's more than one varieties of shingle. They took the information of that there's this non-rashing variety of shingles that sits inside somebody, and they call it internal shingles, right? They're really saying there's more than one variety, and that's the whole point. In this book, I talk about how there's more than one variety. There's over 30 varieties and even more, and it's climbing because of mutations, because of people contracting them and spreading them. So the classic herpes zoster virus is you get it across one side, like on the side here of the rib or somewhere in the back right here, or you get a strip of it along your back or on your side, or maybe down here lower by your butt, right? And you get the strip. Have you guys ever had that, right? The classic herpes zoster variety? That's one right there, okay? And that's one type. If a patient displays pustules and blisters that look different than the barcode style rash, and the blisters and pustules are in unusual areas, doctors often won't consider it shingles at all, but now they do. Now they do. 10 years ago, when this book was put into motion, medical research and science and medical doctors only believed in the classic variety of shingles where it was just this one strip on you, and it had to be textbook. Now, they're calling shingles in all kinds of different shapes and sizes, just like identified in this book, Medical Medium, including internal shingles, which is non-rashing. Pretty amazing. Is this book available yet? Well, it says yes. Go to Amazon.com US or wherever you are and get it. It's the new edition. It's Medical Medium New Edition. You'll see the little gold emblem right there, right? That the publisher put there, which is millions of copies sold in the Medical Medium book series. So check it out. It's this one right here, the new edition. Okay. All right, let's go into it a little bit deeper. We talked about transmission. It's easy to catch. If the medical world, in the medical world, shingles seems like an open and shut case. You got a patient with the textbook rash, skin pain on one side. That's all, folks. Close the case, close the door on the case. but it's changing now. So let's go into some other different stuff. We're talking about classic shingles, and we're going to cut into some of these other ones. There are 7 strains of shingles that cause rashes. You guys, you might be able to identify some of the stuff happening in your life through this right here. While the resulting pustules are painful, if they're in an easy-to-spot location that the doctor associates with the standard variety of shingles, then they look like the classic version doctors are accustomed to seeing in medical school, in a sense that they can be a blessing. It's that one classic variety of herpes zoster, because the rash makes it more like that your doctor will see and realize what you have, and that's helpful, and they won't call it idiopathic. So they won't say you just have this strange rash, we don't know what it is. Okay? However, most shingles rashes may be unidentifiable to the doctor because of their location and pattern. Let's cut into some of these, all right? We talked about the classic shingles. Let's move on. Upper body shingles. Let's hit that one. The rash appears from the chest up. That's a shingles variety where the rash appears from chest up, okay? On the upper chest, shoulders, or neck, but not on the arms. This rash is the closest in appearance to the most common shingles variety. So that's an entirely different strain. So when anybody has shingles from chest up, neck, top of shoulders, chest up, that's a different variety of shingles. These are important to know if you've been somebody that's you're plagued with trigeminal neuralgia and you got aches and pains and you got all kinds of different fatigue and other issues constantly and nerve pain and you're squeezing your teeth down and crunching them up and breaking them in the middle of the night. You got to wear a mouth guard all the time. Like, all this is good information. That's one variety. Here's another variety of shingles. Both arm shingles. You can get them on both arms, okay? Rash appears exclusively on both arms and on both hands. Also, the rash has an altered pattern, somewhat spotty, with large and small pustules, sometimes spaced apart on arms and hands. That's a variety all on its own. That's not the chickenpox bug. That's not the chickenpox virus. It's not. That's its own separate, okay, identity, its own separate virus. By the way, there's a reason why I have all this food here, because I'm going to talk about how shingles loves these foods. We're going to go into that a little bit. Here's one right here. One arm shingles. The rash appears on one arm only. It can be either arm, but not both arms. It's one arm only. So you get the shingles rash on one arm and one arm only. Okay. This breakout also has an altered pattern, somewhat spotty, with large and small pustules spaced apart. Let's hit another one. Head shingles. Brutal. People commit life ending because of it. I have to not say that word, or I'll probably lose TikTok. But people commit the end of life, if you know what I mean, from head shingles. That's how bad head shingles is for so many people, where they get the shingles on their head, or they get it somewhere in their mouth, or they just get it in their sinuses and their head and face. People don't want to live when they have that. Happens all the time out there. It's really sad. The rash appears on the top and the sides of the head, including the face. Also, you can have this variety inside the mouth, on the tongue, throat, or anywhere else in the mouth. Shingles can be really bad. It can kill someone. It can. It's life-threatening. There's different varieties. There's, like I'm reading here, your classic shingles, other varieties of shingles. But somebody can have more than one variety of shingles. They can have 2 or 3 varieties of shingles. But can be life-threatening. That's how bad shingles can hurt and be. Someone may have to be literally on morphine prescribed by their doctor because, or the neurologist or so forth, because shingles can get so bad. It could be on the face, head, it could be in the mouth, it could be on the tongue, it can be in the throat, which is brutal. It can be right in the tongue, it could be all in the mouth, and it can be on the hypoglossal nerves, the cranial nerves going through here. It can be on like the olfactory nerve, you got the hypoglossal nerve, you get the facial nerve, it can be anywhere in these nerves, which is just really brutal. The resulting pustules are tinier than those of the above strains. So it's different than your regular herpes zoster that's on the side of you, right? And they sometimes have little horns on top. You can get a variety of shingles in the mouth, on the face, on the tongue that have horns. Like horns. And they're just brutal. So many people have lived like this, still do today. They get it out there. And medical communities often misdiagnose this type as a fungus that needs to be treated with antifungal or steroid cream. Mistake. Major mistake, which leads to terrifying stuff. So when someone literally is suffering and they have shingles in their mouth and their throat and they're in untold agony that no one can ever understand because their nerves are so lit up in their cranial area, their facial nerves are so lit up, their hypoglossal nerve is literally so lit up. They got the shingles eating away at the nerves and just ripping into their mouth. And then the medical communities believe it's a fungus that needs to be treated with an antifungal or steroid cream. Dear Lord. Dear Lord. Dear God. I can't even say. Yep. Elaine over there on YouTube says, what about shingles in the back and sciatic nerves? Indeed, of course. We're going to talk about that. Okay, let's head into the next one. Both leg shingles. Rash appears on both legs. One leg, two leg. Rash appears on both legs, but nowhere else. It has a different appearance than standard shingles, with pustules that look almost like constellations up in the sky. Right? There's the Little Dipper. There's the Big Dipper. I mean, I've talked to people throughout the years, throughout the decades, and doctors, where it's like there's constellations on them. Where it's like the Little Dipper's on their leg, the Big Dipper's on their leg. Yeah. Constellations. TH says over there on YouTube, my mother also had it on the left side of her body and on her back. And she also had it lingering nerve pain for about 1.5 years. It was quite horrible for her. Can you imagine in your mouth and your throat or on the head, on the ear with your throat and mouth? How bad that can be? People get it all the time out there. It's devastating. Tragic, actually. Tragic. So the both leg shingles shows up like all these different pretty constellations as if you're looking at the stars up there, right? Okay. Let's go a little bit. Vaginal area shingles. This is a very bad variety of shingles, and it's its own strain, and it's brutal, and it's caused a lot of problems with women, and they've suffered greatly with this. And I've heard stories out there, and I've seen things, and I've talked to doctors and top specialists throughout the years, and people have ended their lives because of this variety of shingles. Affecting only women, this strain causes a rash that appears outside but near the vagina, between the rectum and vagina, or on lower buttocks, or inside the crotch area. The strain is especially notable because doctors often misdiagnose it as sexually transmitted herpes. Okay? So there's a shingles variety that gets a misdiagnosis all the time of sexually transmitted herpes simplex 2. Think about that, right? How many women have this shingles virus, but it's misconstrued and misdiagnosed as herpes simplex 2? Think about that, right? That's devastating for a lot of women. But there are more women getting diagnosed with this variety of shingles, which is not on the docket, the medical research and science docket yet. Remember, this is all advanced information, and research and science just took recently, they just took the non-rashing shingles part out of this book. But they're gonna get other pieces, and they're going to take other pieces out of this book as well as they go along. They don't care. They're shameless. So This strain is notable because doctors often misdiagnose it as a sexually transmitted herpes, creating unnecessary emotional pain for hundreds of thousands of women globally. It's a shingles variety that's between the vagina and the rectum or other areas in the crotch and so forth, that is an ongoing infection of shingles that just comes and goes and gets diagnosed as herpes simplex 2 by the system. The primary way to tell these illnesses apart is that the strain of the shingles virus we're talking about causes substantial pain, while genital herpes, herpes simplex virus 2, HSV2, is typically less painful. This variety of shingles virus is so painful, but doctors, they're just like, well, I know we think it's simplex 2, but it's so painful, it's far more painful than simplex 2. This shingles virus I'm talking about, vaginal area shingles virus, is far more painful than simplex 2. Also, the shingles virus creates pustules that are relatively spread out in the genital area and lower buttocks, while HSV2 pustules tend to cluster within a small area. So HSV2, herpes simplex 2, clusters in a small area, and right, and there you go. And the this variety's vaginal shingles tends to spread out more. Okay, and that's a brutal variety of shingles. Let's go into shingles neurotoxin talk a little bit for a couple of minutes. Shingles neurotoxin talk, all right? One of the misconceptions about shingles is that the virus is lurking directly within the skin rash. That's never the case. The virus lies much deeper underneath the skin and even inside the bloodstream and liver at the very same time, positioning itself for the most effective inflammatory possibility on your nervous system. So what this means is that medical research and science thinks it's really at the right by the pustule. It's the pustule, right? They think it's there. But really it's positioned deeper and even in the liver and other places. It's still contagious, but it's deeper in organs and in the bloodstream. However, the virus releases a unique mix of neurotoxins. So the virus releases a neurotoxin. It eats food it likes, right? It eats cheese. Like, nice, right? It eats cheese. It loves butter. This is what it eats. The shingles viruses all eat butter. Butter. They do. So when someone's dealing with chronic shingles and they're suffering in all kinds of different ways, don't even realize it. They don't even need a rash. The non-rashing variety, and they're suffering, they're eating butter and their viruses are staying alive because the viruses are eating the butter. They're having a field day. They love gluten. Nobody knew that. Hey, W, gluten's been around a long time. You're not the man that discovered gluten. No, I'm not. But SOC is the one that discovered that viruses such as shingles and Epstein-Barr feed off of gluten, and nobody knew that. Nobody knew that gluten fed anything in the medical industry or the alternative health industry. Nobody knew that gluten fed things like bugs. That's info. I'm only reminding people. You'll see it out there now because it's constantly poached and never cited. Okay. Another food right here, right? Cheese, gluten right there. Okay, this is interesting. So the sushi, why should that do anything, or why should that be a problem? Such a healthy food. It's like real food. So many different influencers eat it all the time. I mean, if you just look around and you see influencers out there, they're all like sushied out. That's what they do, right? It's every night. But what happens is viruses like Epstein-Barr and shingles feed off the mercury in the tuna. They feed off the mercury in the tuna. That creates a really good neurotoxin for viruses, eventually landing somebody with the sickness at some point, because the viruses will get stronger and stronger and stronger as they're feeding off of more and more sushi, which is the tuna, the mercury. Okay. The virus releases a unique mix of neurotoxin and dermatoxin combined. Here's the difference between an Epstein-Barr. I'll just use this for an Epstein-Barr right now, okay? The difference with an Epstein-Barr is it releases a neurotoxin when it eats its favorite foods, okay? Like cheese. it'll release a neurotoxin, but not necessarily a dermatoxin so much. It can release a dermatoxin, but not all varieties of Epstein-Barr release a dermatoxin, just some, okay? The difference with shingles is it will release a unique blend of neuro and derma. That's the difference right there with the shingles. And in these 7 strains I'm talking about, the viral poison travels outward to the peripheral nerves and lights you on fire. And then you're on fire, suffering from shingles. All right, let's hit shingles without rashes for a little bit too, okay? Because it's got so much to cover and a lot of information. Good to see you guys coming on here. Great. Lots of fun stuff to talk about. And I'm also going to share the book because everybody keeps on asking. This is Medical Medium Book 1, new edition. When you read this book, you'll be mind blown. This book speaks to the soul of the person who's suffering. It speaks to the person who's been the underdog. It speaks to the person who has been misunderstood. It speaks to the person who has been living with symptoms that maybe aren't visible and they're suffering inside. They're tormented inside, but their symptoms aren't really exhibiting on the outside so that people see them. They're like, you look good. You look great. How are you doing? And you're like, no, I don't feel good. I got tightness of the chest. I don't feel good. I'm tired all the time. I got brain fog. I got like OCD and all kinds of different problems now, and I'm not doing good. And that's what this speaks to, because the information in here is real information and answers to why you're sick, and then giving you validation and answers to how to heal. Does it get any better than that? It's an incredible book. Make sure you check it out. We're into shingles right now a little bit. And you guys, just before we move on to the non-rashing shingles, which I'm excited to talk about, I just want to say, if you just got on here, okay, check out Medical Medium Podcast at Apple Podcasts. I put out a new episode. It's about drinking. It's about drinking. I got to be careful with my word choices here. It's about drinking. Don't miss it. And check out my Telegram, please, because the 4 Platter shows are back. They were removed months ago, not by me. I mentioned this earlier, and now they are back. And you'll hear why and how when you listen to the Telegram on what happened. Okay, let's go into shingles without rashes. The 8 non-rashing strains produce a neurotoxin, and they hurt. They hurt. So what people need to understand is these non-rashers really hurt bad. Let's hit one right here. Neuralgic shingles, also known as diabetic neuropathy. Does anybody have diabetic neuropathy? Or does anybody have neuropathy? Because I said this for years, that there were more people with neuropathy than there were with diabetic neuropathy. Just for the record, right there. Another thing that I think the industry is now taken from this book, I think I saw it like a year ago out there, and there's diabetic neuropathy, but that's only some people with diabetic neuropathy. They're diabetics with neuropathy. All diabetic neuropathy is, you guys, is a diabetic with neuropathy. And then there's all these other people that aren't diabetics and they got neuropathy. There's more people with neuropathy than there is in people with diabetics with neuropathy. Okay, all right. Just want to make sure that's clear. All right. Neuralgic shingles, which primarily attacks the lower extremities, creating nerve pain like numbness, burning in the legs, burning in the feet. It's often called diabetic neuropathy and misidentified as a complication of diabetes. This is a huge medical myth that needs to be debunked. Unless there's an obvious injury or impediment to the nerves, the sensations a patient is feeling is not neuropathy. It's something else. It's the shingles. It's inflamed nerves because of non-rashing shingles. I wanted to cover that a little bit. If you know anybody dealing with neuropathy, okay, take this book to your doctor and say, is it the shingles? Let's see. PX Fiction says, I get neuropathy, but I'm not diabetic. I believe that because people, that's what happens. There's so many more people that are not diabetic that have neuropathy. There's so many more. It's way more than anybody can imagine, actually. All right, so I was talking about that. Okay, this variety of shingles occurs more often in patients without diabetes than in patients with diabetes. So, Sophie Nordstrom says, what is neuropathy? It's a mysterious condition medical research and science doesn't quite understand entirely. They just know it as pain. They just know it as nerve pain, they believe, happening in the legs. Primarily in the legs. That's what they've said all these years. Okay. Let's go a little bit deeper and let's go into this variety of shingles. This is a non-rashing. We're in non-rashing varieties, you guys. Here's one, maddening itch shingles. So maddening itch shingles, okay? Like crazy, you just itchy. You can't reach the itch. You can't reach it. You can scratch all you want, but you can't get in there. You can't reach it, all right? This virus creates a continually moving itch that can't be scratched. That's because the virus is irritating nerves too far beneath the skin to be reached with fingers. That's your nerves. It's like I'm itchy all the time, but I can't really touch it. You almost touch it. It almost feels good, but it's not enough. You're not finding the spots because the itch is deeper. That's what variety that is. If the virus is empowered by a weak immune system and or by triggers, stick of butter, some gluten, some mercury from some sushi, some eggs. How about some eggs as well, right? And other things that can easily feed your shingles virus, perfumes, colognes, air fresheners, scented candles, all the fragrances, all the stuff, the detergents, the fabric softeners, the whatever, just it keeps on going. The air fresheners in the cars, right? Boo, boo, boo. Yeah, it could all feed it and get that one worse. Okay, let's go to a vaginal shingles. Non-rashing vaginal shingles. Okay? This virus affects only women. It goes deep into the inner vaginal walls and inflames the nerves there. Okay? It also travels inside the bladder and rectum to wreak additional havoc, creating a burning so irritating it's akin to torture. That's vaginal shingles. A non-rashing, mysterious vaginal shingles. If a doctor doesn't dismiss it as being all in your head, I can't tell you how many times I heard that throughout the decades. Doctors dismissing this variety of vaginal shingles as being all in the woman's head. Because she or he can't find the cause, she or he will typically misdiagnose it once again as a hormonal imbalance and prescribe hormones to treat it. This is not an effective treatment and can sometimes make the situation worse. Many women have truly suffered from this variety of vaginal shingles. Okay? And the medical industry ignores it. Fancy that. All right, colitis shingles. Boom. Non-rashing colitis. You guys know anybody with colitis? Anybody diagnosed with colitis at all? Do you know somebody that might be suffering with colitis? If you guys are having trouble on IG, just go to YouTube, go to Rumble. I'm on TikTok right now. If you guys are having trouble with IG, because I could see there's a lot of trouble on IG today. Okay, medical communities don't know that this virus is responsible for almost all cases of colitis. You can watch me stream live right now. I'm live right now at medicalmedium.com. Just go to medicalmedium.com and watch this. Okay? Colitis symptoms include intestinal pain, blood in the stool, weakness, and weight loss. Colitis. Colitis has always been a mystery illness and will continue to be so until medical research reveals that it's a variety of shingles. Colitis will be a mysterious illness for years to come unless medical research and science says uncle and literally chalks it up and admits it's a variety of shingles. And the only way they're going to do that is if they poach and steal something else from this book, which will be this. Medical research and science believe colitis is an autoimmune condition where the immune system is attacking the lining of the colon. Oh my god. I'm tired and freaking bored. Tired and freaking bored, man. Excuse me. I'm just gonna. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm so tired of the bullshit. Medical research and science believes colitis is an autoimmune condition where the immune system is attacking the lining of the colon with no evidence and no data and no studies showing it. They believe it's just your body attacking the inside lining of the colon, causing inflammation. This belief means that doctors typically try to treat colitis with immunosuppressive drugs, even worse, antibiotics, which make the virus stronger. So that person with colitis suffers more. Steroids can put the colitis in remission, but no one's addressing the true nature of it, which is the shingles virus. All right. Okay, guys, arm and leg burning shingles. Burning arms, burning legs. Does it ring a bell to anybody you know? Burning arms, burning legs. Just seeing if it sounds familiar. Boots McGee, thank you. Thank you. This virus creates a hot burning pain in your arms and legs. Hot burning pain in your arms and legs. You can do a dance. Hot burning pain in your arms and legs. We can do like a total cheerleading dance to that. Unlike the rash-based strains that attack arm or legs, with this strain, the nerve inflammation and burning sensations all take place far below the skin, so you can't pinpoint or find relief. Your arms burn, your legs burn. You can have just legs, sometimes arms, but really sometimes it's both. And you can really suffer with that. And they'll never know. 50 years from now, they might finally kind of come up with maybe that was shingles all along. Here's one right here. Okay? Mouth shingles, TMJ, trigeminal neuralgia, Bell's palsy. Bell's palsy. Okay? The only way ever the medical industry ever associated Bell's palsy in any way to viral, if it was ever going to be shingles, it would have to be a rashing version. A rashing version. Okay? Now, the medical industry has taken the Bell's palsy information from Medical Medium Book 1, and now they're using it. Okay, this virus affects the gums, or the area of the jaw, different area of the jaw. Burning gums, right? It's also responsible for Bell's palsy, viral inflammation of critical facial nerves, trigeminal neuralgia, and TMJ disorders as a result of trigeminal nerve inflammation and pain. People don't realize, I had so many arguments with people in the health movement throughout the years, where they're like, AW, TMJ is the mandible joint. It's not, it's when someone's joint is worn out. And it's not shingles. I'd be like, really? Because their joint is inflamed. That's how it wore out. Their jaw was inflamed. Hence, it was in pain. Before the jaw fell apart on the person, they suffered in pain. They were inflamed in the jaw. And then 20 years of it, their joint just started to fall apart. You had to have the shingles there first. The shingles had to be there first, and then the TMJ, the mandible joint stuff had to happen later. It's really frustrating. It's frequently mistaken for a dental issue, leading to unnecessary root canals. Let's do one more root canal. We'll do another root canal. Oh, crap. 10 root canals later, we didn't know something else is going on in there, but science and research hasn't figured it out. Juliet Llewellyn says, I think I have non-rashing shingles causing TMJ right jaw pain and pain in my right side of the face and ear on and off for a few years. I can't seem to get rid of it. And currently, it's worse. It's worse post-dentist. Okay, all right, you guys. So it's doing that with the Bell's palsy and so forth. Okay, frozen shoulder. Who there's got the frozen shoulder? Frozen shoulder. Frozen shoulder is brutal for so many people. I've seen people where they're so frozen, they're disabled. They're disabled. Like they're literally in a sling, and they get the massage, they get work done on it. They're at the doctor every minute. Frozen shoulder, and it's brutal. Like it just seized up. Viral frozen shoulder. Shingles virus causes the frozen shoulder. It's another thing science research actually took from the Medical Medium book. The original. Right there. That's where the information comes from. This virus aggravates the nerves in the shoulder, causing it to freeze up for anywhere a month or a year. You guys, I've seen people with frozen shoulder for a year. They've had it for a year or more because the shingles virus was freezing their shoulder. This condition is often misdiagnosed as infectious bursitis. Oh, it's just a case of bursitis. What the hell is bursitis? That's not an answer. You can put any name you want on it. Wingitis, bursitis, whatever. You can call it whatever you want, you know? And so the thing is what people don't realize, that's not an answer, but shingles, the virus creating the bursitis. See how it works? Medical Medium Information did this for people. That's why it was so mind-blowing. That's why it's been a movement all around the world. I never had to do marketing. I never had to, hire PR and massive marketing firms like everybody's doing right now in the health realm, including people in the Medical Medium community that used to be in the Medical Medium community, and they're influencers. And they've taken all their followers and ran, and they're hiring all these marketing companies, helping them market everything. Never did that. Medical Medium Information, no, we never did that. It was just about, boom, answers. People found it and told someone else. That's how it was done. Real answers. People found it and told somebody else. And what happens is that to know this, right? Bursitis isn't an answer. But what the Medical Medium Information did was it said, no, there is something causing your bursitis. There's something causing your frozen shoulder. It's a shingles virus. But more than that, protocol for the shingles virus so you can heal faster or heal when people can't heal, right? All right, here's one right here. I don't like this shingles. I don't like this shingles topic. I don't like talking about the shingles. I find it very frustrating in many ways. One is because people have been tortured to death by shingles out there in their health, and throughout their struggling and suffering. Shingles has really done a lot of damage to people, and it breaks my heart. So it's a tough one for me. It hits the emotional core. Body on fire shingles. I do not like this variety. I've seen people out there that've gone through this. This one really, really stinks. Okay? This virus makes every part of your body feel like it's on fire. Like third-degree burns on fire. Simultaneously and relentlessly, it operates by finding a central location by the ganglia deep in the nervous system and releasing its neurotoxin. This is a variety of shingles that gets into that different areas like the cranial area and so forth, cranial nerves, which spreads throughout the whole body and inflames nerves everywhere. Needless to say, it creates a great deal of anxiety and fear. And these challenging emotions can prompt the adrenal glands to produce an abundant amount of intense adrenal hormones. There's shingles varieties like this one that creates this problem where the adrenals are flooding like crazy because the virus inflammation is causing so much trouble in the nervous system, and the nerves are inflamed and flared up, and the adrenals are just exploding with adrenaline. And that's part of why this thing turns into a fear monster. There are shingles varieties that are this bad. This is an especially terrible shingles condition, but thankfully relatively rare. Keep in mind that the body always has the ability to heal even from this uncommon variety, it has the ability to heal when given the right tools and so forth. All right, so I want to read a little something here. If you guys don't mind. Healing shingles. Being stuck with any kind of shingles is painful and stressful. Whether you have a variety that creates a rash or doesn't. It can be maddening. Okay, fortunately, there are simple yet powerful medical medium protocols for this condition. Protocols are here for this condition. The goal is to knock the virus back. It's to knock the virus back, okay? That's the goal. Into a dormant state. Knocking the shingles virus back into a dormant state. Kill off as much of it as possible or kill it off altogether. Altogether. Okay? Yes. Render it virtually harmless. Okay? All right, you guys. And this thing is so packed. There's even like healing foods in here, talking about what to eat with the shingles. There's a shingles protocol right here with herbs and the whole bit. Take it to your doctor. Ask your doctor what's right for you. Take the book to your doctor. Okay? There's a shingles protocol right there. And here's all the shingles and the information listed in here. It's in medical medium. Right there. Okay? All important. Important information. You guys, just for the record, I am working on some type of situation where I could do the first book signing I've ever done. I've never done a book signing. Like I've never been in a situation ever where I was sitting there. I never did a book signing for my publisher. I never did a book signing, like, a real one. So, kind of a bucket list thing too, all right? Because people have been asking me that forever. They're like, how come you're like one of the only authors or the only author that anybody really can find that never did, even though there's been all these books all these years, there's never been a book signing, but I'm trying to make it happen where it's in person, you bring your books, A lot of you guys got like 3 or 4 books. Some of you guys just have one. Some of you guys have like, all of them. And you bring your books, just drop them right on the table in front of me. I'll sign them, okay? And and say hi and the whole bit. I'm working on a location. I'm working on where I'm gonna do this. I'm probably gonna just do this in one place. So I'm not gonna travel around the world. I can't right now. I've been thwarted in so many ways. From this last terrible year and everything of all the false garbage and everything else that has happened where I'm so behind on everything. But get on my Medical Medium newsletter if you can. Get on my Medical Medium newsletter. Go to medicalmedium.com or check out the newsletter. It's in the profile and so forth in the bio. So I can let you know where I'm going to be and give you enough leeway, enough time. Okay? And I'm trying to work out something where it's in a place. Jeanette, it might be in LA. It might be in LA. Yeah. So just giving you the forewarning, you guys. So it's most likely going to be in LA. Yep. Check out Telegram t.me/medical medium. My Telegram account t.me/medical medium. Okay. Go on there. I just released some information today about my 4 podcast episodes, the plotter episodes that are back now. I want you to know what happened because so many people are like, where'd they go? What happened? And then rumors were spread around of why they were gone. You want to go and check out my Telegram so you can see that. Okay? And get that information. And I released a new Medical Medium podcast episode. One about drinking. Fun. New podcast episode. It's called Alcohol, the Ghost of Sugar. Alcohol, the Ghost of Sugar. But yeah, it's going to be in LA. Saw somebody else also say LA. So I'm pretty sure that's where it's going to be. I hope that's not. I hope that's an okay thing for you guys. But I'm going to be there in person. I'm finding a place to do it where maybe it could even work out where it's really cool, like something really cool along with it all. So I'm pumped about that. And I'll be in person. If you want to come up, say hi, and I'll sign the books. Anyway, that's my dream. That's my dream. Okay, trying to make it happen. I'm gonna let you guys know when I know more information soon. A whole bit. But check out Medical Medium Book 1, new edition. By far, the most incredible book in the health scene ever, because the street cred and what it's done for people and healed so many people throughout the years, and still is every day. All right, you guys. Check out at Heal with Amber too. Check out her Instagram page. So at Heal HEAL with WITH Amber AMBER at Heal with Amber. She's putting out a lot of incredible stuff and information. She's putting out incredible truth and evidence and so forth. And she's setting the record straight. For anybody who's been hurt by what's happened, and so many people have been hurt. We know because people have contacted us. We have hundreds and hundreds, actually, who have their healing was thwarted. They've been injured by it. We're building a whole thing with it, and it's unbelievable in the sense where they're going to be heard. It's really scary what happened in the last couple of years with all the false stories and everything perpetuated by people that obviously tell false stories. And we're going to we're going to talk about that more as we go along. Anyway, so check out Heal with Amber. Follow her page and so forth, so you can get the clear, precise information about stuff. Anyway, guys, you don't have an Instagram? You're on Facebook though? Well, that's cool. You're on Facebook. All right, you guys. I'll see you next time. Lots of love, many blessings. Have compassion for yourself. Be easy on yourself, okay? If you're dealing with some of these shingles viruses, know that your body can heal. Know that your body can heal. So many have done it before you. Remember that. And that's the track record you want. You want to know other people healed. Other people did it. You can too. Love you guys.